Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. I had an overwhelmingly positive response to my last video and that made me so excited. So I'm so happy to be back today and film this for y'all because it was really requested. But this is a note-taking video, as you can all guess from the title, and the way I take notes for every class differs very slightly. I usually have the same technique, but I do different things for some of my classes. So take these ideas how you'd like to. These should just be suggestions. You don't have to take your notes like I do. This is just how I learn best, and we all have different learning styles. So, first, I have 4 classes. I talked about that in my What's in My Backpack, which also was like a school supplies video sort of thing. And so I have 4 notebooks, and I just like these notebooks. This one, I like the ones that are 3 subject because I'm always afraid of running out of pages, and I don't write on the back of pages because I really should, but I'm like anal about that sort of thing. And then I just have like a 5-star 1 subject for a class that I know that I probably won't run out, and then these like cute other ones. But I'll show you those as we go. This is my environmental science notebook, and I hope y'all can like see this. I was going to zoom in, but that's kind of difficult. So, a lot of my classes, my teachers utilize PowerPoints during class, which is helpful because it kind of already gives you a structure of how you should probably be organizing your notes based on how they title the slides and what information they decide to put in there. But for that class, the PowerPoint was titled Humans and Sustainability, an Overview. And so what I do is I write that right there. And it just says Humans and Sustainability, an Overview, and I put it in brackets. I just like the way that kind of like labels off, and I usually center that on the page. And she labeled her lectures, so I thought that would be helpful, so I put lecture number 1 right there, and then the date of the notes, so that in case someone in my class needed to borrow them, or she referred to the date and not the title, I have it all. Also, there's a correlating blog post. If you want to see like an in-depth and like closer version, also check that out there. It'll be linked below, definitely. Okay, so for each title of the slide, typically my teachers do the title of the slide and then the information. And so when they title the slide, I write that down and then I underline it, which you can kind of see right there. And then any points that they make, I write those underneath, bulleted usually. And aside from that, I don't really underline anything else. I just underline the title of the slide name. And then as it went on, we did a brief history of humans and the environment, which is right there, and she gave us like 3 important points, and lists are always something that teachers try to take on to tests, which is important. So I made sure to write 1, 2, and 3 and circle those so I could easily refer back to those, and then we kind of debriefed what each one was about. So that's for that class. I'm not going to like show you each page so far because you would be so bored. And for my arts integration class, we also use a PowerPoint. I do have one class that we don't use a PowerPoint as much for, so I'll tell you that as well. This class we don't take that many notes. We take a decent bit. This is actually what I just came back from, so these notes are fresh. And I did the same thing, the date in the upper right hand corner. I was trying to think of like, should I say it how y'all see it? Never mind. So the date in the upper right hand corner and the title of the lesson in brackets. And the same way, I just title of the PowerPoint slide and information about each of it, and it goes on. So that one's pretty much the same. My Students with Exceptionalities class is one that's predominantly PowerPoint. Well, it's not PowerPoint, she does like slides. I don't know, it's interesting. And then she also kind of adds in information. So that's when it gets a bit tricky. Also, I didn't tell you this, between each slide I usually skip lines. This one I did not because we were again listing and I didn't have room to circle things, so I just wrote it out to the side. So it's still kind of how you want to do it. I always have teachers say like, oh, you don't have to write down everything I say. But if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget it. And another important thing is to try to rephrase what they're saying. It's not necessary to put in every single word as you're writing down. Your hand would be so tired by the end of class. So just kind of like summarize it. I use like a mixture of cursive and print because it's easier for me to write that way because it connects all my letters and it's faster. And so summarizing it in your mind and then getting it down on the page helps me remember the information better as well. So let's see if I can find another page of this that's different. They're all pretty much the same. Okay, well I'm just gonna, well, this is different. So this was my notes from this morning in there, and like I said, I don't like taking notes on the back of the page, but if we're like drawing a diagram or doing something that's short and simple that I can just highlight on the side of the page, then I do. And that's what I've done here. I also like to, I pay attention well when I'm doing other things, so that's why there's like doodling, mainly just cursive. So I like was writing down all the information we were talking about in class right there, and then over here we were drawing a diagram, so I just did that there. And so my one, for if you have classes where teachers don't use slides or like put any of the information on the board, then this is how I set it up, pretty much the same way, but you have to make up your own names for what you're talking about. Sometimes the teachers will give outlines, but that can't really be counted on. So we were watching a film in my Hindu Cultures and World Religion class, and so I just titled the page like what the film was, and put some keywords right there, and I decided that I was going to separate it into terms that we were talking about during the film, the notes that I was taking during the film, and then lastly our discussion of it. And that's going to be really helpful for me to know how I was relating things back to what I was learning. That's just something important you should be doing regardless. So it's going to be nice when I'm studying for my test to take my points, take the teacher's points, and compare them. Another thing I wanted to talk about in this video is the pens I use for note-taking. I am not a pencil girl. I used to love pencils in high school. I actually hated my math class last semester. Well, I didn't hate it. I just hated the fact that I had to use pencil in it. But I am a black ink when taking notes kind of girl, and I adore these Bic Atlantis pens, and I've talked about these so many times. But I recently tried these Pilot Easy Touch pens, and they're a strong contender. So it just kind of depends on what I'm doing. I don't know why I decided to try these when I'm so obsessed with these, but if you don't try, you don't know. But I really I really do like this now that it's on the floor, but I think black ink is just the way to go with it. I like the other ones, not the Bic Atlantis, because they don't smear as bad, and I like drag my hand as I write, and it always smears on my hand, but we'll see which one turns out to be a favorite, so stay tuned for that. I hope these tips were semi-helpful. I know it's basically just how I take notes, and you can interpret that into your own situation however you'd like, but you can definitely check out the blog post. Hopefully I'll include tips on note-taking. I haven't written it yet, but I'm working on it. So I will definitely be doing that. Please leave any video requests you may have below. Honestly, anything. I'm a lot more likely to film videos, which y'all love, if you leave me a request. So I will talk to y'all later. Bye.